Hello.
Live.
We're
How
live.
are you folks?
How is everybody doing? So we are around the table. We are initiating one of our little table talks. That's what we're going to call it.
That's what we're calling it, Steph. So we thought for our first table talk episode, we'd let you know a little bit about ourselves. So
Yeah.
That's what this episode is going to be all about. Just to sort of
A wee chat, just really
pretty
like
much.
give you an insight into who we both are, why we compete, why we are bodybuilders, and a little bit about our journey from the very beginning right through to where we are now. It's a really funny one. People come up and ask you all the time things like, why do you compete? Why do you want to be a bodybuilder? And I think the answer to that question is quite individual to everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Specific
It's
reasons.
a personal thing.
Yeah, really, really personal thing. And that's kind of why we're here, just to have a wee chat and explore that. And I think it's quite nice for both of us because you rarely sit and think about it, do you?
Yeah,
Kind of
I know.
why do we do what we do in the first place? So yeah, we've written down a few questions and we sort of have just had a wee chat before we started. And so why don't you kick us off, Andrew? Why don't you talk to us about why you started, where you started, what drew you to bodybuilding in the first place?
Gosh, I mean, when it started,
When it started.
When it started, okay. Well, the reason I do it, I can tell you, first and foremost, is quite simple. Love. I love bodybuilding. I love doing it. I love training. I love the art of bodybuilding. And competitive bodybuilding is perhaps the ultimate expression of that. So that is why I competitive bodybuilding. Now, the way in which I got caught up in this crazy business, it's a similar story to lots of guys my age. So I'm 32 these days, and the man at the time when I was growing up was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, it says it all. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Muscle Man seemed to rule my world in terms of action movie stars and being role models. Yeah. So I sort of look up to these guys and I thought, yeah, muscles are the answer. So yeah, huge inspiration from that point of view. Also at the same time, I mean, it started largely as a vain attempt to try and pick up women. So you go to the gym, you it's a familiar story, as I said. You go to the gym, you try and build a little bit of muscle mass, improve your own self-confidence, your own self-esteem, in a vain attempt to...
the stereotypical woman you think, man that you think all women really want.
Yeah, and absolutely.
It works,
absolutely.
I think. Does it? Ladies, comment below.
Well, it seemed to be, actually, once you got to a certain size and muscle mass, that you attracted more members of the same sex rather than the opposite sex.
I think a lot of guys have experienced that.
Yeah, like literally, guys would be like smooshing women in the face to get over to you, talking about, be like, man, how big are your arms?
Yeah, the take measure out and have like a blow off.
Yeah, definitely. So I first started lifting weights probably way back around about 2002, 2003, 15, 16-year-old, whenever that, if the dates match up there, in the school gym, largely for those reasons, and because I like playing sport. I played a lot of football, and I thought, well, if I can get a little bit more muscular, this would help with my sport. I was interested in health and fitness, and I sort of threw myself into that sort of side of things because I had sort of notions of I would go on and be a personal trainer from there. So it seemed like a natural progression to learn more about lifting weights. My heroes were muscle men themselves. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was obviously 7-time Mr. Olympia. So I thought, well, I'll learn from what he did to try and enhance my own body. That'll help my sporting background. It'll also help me learn more about personal training, physical fitness, etc. from there. And that's really what ignited my passion for that sort of field of study as well, and took me on that sort of journey. So that's the start of the journey.
Did you know much about Arnie in the very first place, or did you see him in a magazine, or how did you even find out about him to begin with?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that Arnold Schwarzenegger, the young guy that came from Austria, became Mr. Olympia, and then beyond that, he would then go on to become the most famous movie star in the world, and so on. And you've seen it in his movies, and you had this notion of, okay, he was Mr. Olympia, but what does that actually mean? I mean, bodybuilding doesn't get any mainstream coverage or anything like that, and you don't really see any pictures going around the internet. Really, at this point, it's a hazard to say in its infancy, because we're talking about 2002, 2003 at that point, but not a lot of people had personal computers. You probably had them at your skill.
Yeah, I suppose actually that's kind of like, because we're like the hybrid generation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But we still remember the very beginnings of computer. Social media wasn't even around at that point. We were still using like Bebo and
I mean, you had like bodybuilding.com and stuff like
forums,
that.
Forums.
But you didn't have smartphones to go and look up stuff. But, so it was a party one day. I met a guy there, and he was talking about bodybuilding and stuff like that. He bought magazines and stuff, and he introduced me to Flex magazine. And then from that point on there, I went on and bought these things because I thought this could help me understand my own body and the physiology a little bit better and training. And it just so happened that, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a guest editor in Flex at the time, and so I learned about him from them, and I thought, okay, I'll do the Arnold Schwarzenegger workout. So I remember all my early workouts, it would be 5 sets of 5.
Yeah, like your...
For each... No, sorry, not 5 sets of 5. 5 sets of 5 exercises, so 25 sets for one body part, and I would do 2 body parts a session, so I'd be doing like almost 50 sets. I know, doing like chest, biceps, legs, etc. for like the first couple of years of training when I was doing that. Me and my friend Jason, way back in LA Fitness back in 2004 or whatever it would be, when I was studying for my health and fitness. So that was the start of it. The sport fell by the wayside because I was always better at training than I was actually playing the sport itself, and I enjoyed that part a little bit more. And then the sort of interest in it became more. It became more about me doing this because I enjoyed it rather than obviously trying to pick up women or anything like that off of the back of it. Because I'd already.
I'm sure everybody wants to know now.
No, I was feeble at it always, so I never had any game anyway, and I still don't have any game. No, I guess what like a lot of guys, what happens is someone says to you in the gym at one point, you say, okay, well, have you thought about doing a bodybuilding show or a natural bodybuilding show? And once you sort of get somebody saying that to you, then people are taking notice of your physique, and obviously they believe in you that you can do something. So this guy had competed in the universe before. He mentioned bodybuilding. I knew that bodybuilders took steroids. I wasn't sure I wanted to do that, but when he mentioned natural bodybuilding, I was like, well, this is maybe something I could get on board with. And then
it's like quite a good sort of mindset to have at that point, because I'm sure a lot of people, especially young guys,
definitely.
And I've been asked, have you considered competing? And if the steroid conversation comes up, obviously you didn't want to go down that route.
Well, I didn't know enough about it.
But then I'm sure like a lot of people don't know much about it, but do go down that route anyway. So you've considered obviously that at the point where you're not in that headspace, you've looked at it and you thought, let's go natural.
Definitely. That was way back in 2005, 2006. At that time, the decision was like, okay, I don't know enough about it. I'm never going to say it's off the table. But at that point in time, I didn't know anything about it. So I thought, well, it's probably not the best idea for me to do this just now. Let's go try this natural bodybuilding. I did the BMBF Scottish 2006.
That was your first one?
That was my first ever bodybuilding contest.
2006?
2006, yeah. Junior category.
That's crazy. That's cool though.
I won the class. That was great. I loved that. And in the overall, I competed against John Clark, DFAC Masters Pro, Mick Battersby, who I competed against the year before in the 2017 Grand Prix. He's a DFAC Pro as well. Competed against Kerry Napier in the overall as well, DFAC Pro. And do you know what? I think Rick Waters might have even been in the overall as well. So he's a Masters Pro as well. So way back in 2006, all these guys were amateurs and everything like that. And there was me as a wet behind the ears young lads just doing this and then competing in that competition, and then it went from there. So I think that's a pretty good idea about how I got into bodybuilding. So I think I'll hand it over to yourself, Steph. You can tell me a little bit about how does someone like yourself get into bodybuilding?
Yeah, I think for me, my background, I've always been very much a mover. I've always been competitive in one sport or the other, and so I've come from a physical background as a dancer, a competitive dancer. I've trained in dance throughout my whole life, and part of that's also been training in the gym for strength alongside my actual technique training. So I used to do things like ballet, jazz, tap, the whole lot. Oh, are we still on?
Let's pause a second and see.
Edit.
We'll edit this.
We'll edit. Okay.
Oh, we are still on.
Back. Yeah. So
So tell us from the ballet.
Yeah. So coming from more of a dance background, fitness, moving my body, understanding how my physique moves has always been a really big part and a huge passion of mine. It's been a big part of what I do, but it's been a huge passion of mine. And I took a step away from professional dance around about my early teens to come back and actually get some studies and get myself like thinking about the future. And I fell into more performing arts and drama, and educating young people around that, around dance and using that in their creative education. And I was training. I didn't want to lose dance completely. I was still dancing, but I wanted another focus. And that's really where I started to put all my emphasis on the gym. And I was in the gym 4 or 5 times a week, learning how to get fit, how to train my body using weights. And I was, similar to Andrew, reading a lot of different...
Sorry if I can butt in your... I mean, were you aware of bodybuilding as a sport?
No, I didn't know anything about bodybuilding at this stage.
What about, like, Gladiators was a huge program at the time. What about the girls like Jet?
Yeah.
Were they an inspiration for you? Did you think like that? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's funny because in technical dance, you always get to a point early in your career, and I'm talking when you're like 11, 12, 13, where they assess your body and critique your physique and tell you whether you're going to go one route or the other. So if you're doing ballet, they're very much physically up and down like this, and you go that way. And if you're not, and your body's more curvaceous, a little bit like mine, and more muscular, because I've always been quite, not developed, but I've had tone.
You're a figure pro.
Yeah.
I mean, you had it from an early age.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had like a structure that's been quite built from quite an early age, and I do put that down to a lot of technical dance, that I've done. I've been dancing since I was 2 years old. I was dancing 5 days a week by the time I was 5, and it goes on. But bodybuilding itself, no, I didn't have an understanding of it, but I had seen strong women on TV, like you say, like Gladiators, or in magazines I'd seen more like strong looking women, and that did always appeal to me, especially when the decision was made to go not technical dance, because I couldn't because of my structure. So I started to perform to my strengths, which was create a desirable figure for me, which was more powerful, more strong. So that's what I set out to do in the gym. And my very first goal, I'll remember it, was back in 2011, and I'd set myself a fat loss goal to get lean. And the term lean was really different to me at that point. I was using like guides online and reading magazines and things to get lean for a holiday I was going on in Brazil to Rio de Janeiro. And I wanted to get down to sort of between 12 and 15% body fat. Super
low for a female to be that low.
So my goal was to get shredded, basically. But I'd gone into the gym and I was training consistently, like 5 days a week. I was training at that point split body parts, so I was doing a kind of a typical bodybuilding type routine, even though I didn't specifically know that was bodybuilding style. I was following people at the time, though, a couple of competitors that had only just been introduced to me at the gym I was at. Nicole Wilkins, and actually the main person I was following at the time was Louis Rogers, who was the very first UK BFF figure pro in the UK.
Extreme nutrition athlete at one point, I think.
Yeah. So she was actually the first woman in the UK to turn pro on the IFBB stage in figure. And I didn't really actually know much about that at the time. I just knew she had this just phenomenal shape, and she was on the wall in my gym, and I didn't really know anything about bodybuilding, but she was somebody I was really drawn to. So I was doing heavy training, going for this goal in Brazil, slowly manipulating my diet, and similar to you, somebody came up to me in the gym whilst I was training for this goal I had, and asked me had I considered competing. And that was it. That was really like the very first time I'd heard of proper competing. What was it? And my curiosity was spiked. And then the journey on researching what competing was began. And then I got down to that goal. Actually, I went off to Brazil, and I came back, and then I started putting in plans for my first competition.
What was the first one?
The NPA Yorkshire.
Mm-hmm. How did that go?
I won that show.
Oh, well done. Congrats.
So that was my very first show. I'd never been to a show before. And I went into that show pretty much like a rabbit in headlights.
Yeah, as we all do in the first one.
As we do. But what I loved about it was this blend of stage performance, the art and the aesthetic, and bringing your physique to life and putting your personality on stage with the hard, heavy training that you put blood, sweat and tears in behind the scenes, and you're showcasing something quite unique. And the two, for me, from a performance background and then from just loving training, a bit like what Andrew was saying, just loved being in the gym, loved the competitive aspect, loved all of it. The two just went like, it was like a light bulb. It was like, yes, this is something I can do, and I love it. And then journey began.
I mean, just on one of the points you raised there, I mean, the first contest I ever went to was the one that I competed in. The first one that you ever went to was the one that you competed in the game. Yeah. So if anyone's watching this that's thinking about competing, I mean, it was a different time back then, because you could get hold of videos and stuff. But I would just say, go to a show.
Go to a show.
Experience it, see it. Yeah. Because then you'll definitely be better prepared when it comes to the contest.
It was a bonkers thing, because
it's a different world.
Yeah, it's a different world altogether. I don't know about you, but I had a few people around me who obviously knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that.
Sure.
So of course they guide you through it, and you know they like give you the lowdown. And I was, oh my god, I was absolutely bricking it.
Yeah, I think so.
It was the most nerve-wracking thing. And with NPA, they allowed you to use things like Dream Tan at that time. I'm not sure if they still will use that.
I'm not sure either. No.
I've since moved on from that, but like it was literally the most bizarre experience, seeing everybody behind the stage just being like slapped.
Oh yeah, like, the noise.
Like the noise of it, just Dream Tan absolutely everywhere. Oh, it was a bit mental. So, but such.
What year was that then?
That was 2013.
2013.
Yeah, so that was my very first one, 13, and then actually the same year I went on to do the BNBF Northern, and I actually did the UKDFBA that year as well, and had a really successful first year, and it just totally hooked.
Just after that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's the story.
That's how it started anyway.
That's how it starts. So competitive history, I mean, you've just told us about a few stories there, so...
Yeah.
2013 is the debut.
Yeah.
You did all these shows. You got hooked. What happened after that then? I mean, you must have set some goals after that, because when I first started, I just thought, okay, let's just do a show, get it under your belt. And I don't know if you've ever got any plans beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I always go into a show trying to win because I'm a competitive person, and I was definitely going into that Mr. Scotland at the time to win. But I don't know if I thought about British finals, having a career out of this afterwards. So just tell me a little bit about what the goals were, or in the competitive history then.
I think, similar to you, first year, it was really a case of, let's just see what this is all about. I didn't expect at all how the first year went. I took, obviously, MPA first, got invited to their British finals. I took a second place with BNBF, got invited to their British finals. I took a first with UKDFBA, got invited to their finals. So that year, I decided to go to do all three, and had that incredible experience. And it was interesting actually for me, because I went and did all natural federations in my first year, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to get a feel for the federation, for the culture, for how they present their competitors on stage, the experience, all of that. So a big part of it for me was finding out where I wanted to set my goals ongoing. I hadn't set any goals to begin with. So I had a really incredible time at all three finals. I took, I think it was second place on MPA. I won UKDFBA, so I took the figure title there, and I took fifth my first BNBF finals.
2013.
Really great, like a great run at the first year, and then when you're talking about goals, I came away from that and I went into my first sort of off season, if you like, and BNBF sung my tune. I think it's because I wanted to. The standard of competitors was outrageous. I mean, it was just like, wow, like I'm competitive at heart and I want to be the best of the best. So for me, it was like that particular setup there showed me some quality physiques and a really, really great lineup to get my teeth stuck into, and it kind of just made me feel quite excited about competing there again.
Yeah.
And I looked at the pros. Obviously, I then took stock and thought, okay, I've done okay this year. I've done pretty well. Like, didn't expect that.
Sure.
So what is the potential? Where can I go with this? And what would I like to achieve? And then start to set some actual long-term goals. Not next year. I knew it wasn't really going to be just a year. I knew it was going to be a lot longer than that. So it was a case of me sitting down and going, well, do I want to become the figure competitor I think I am capable of being? Yes, I do. Where do I want to do that? And then I sat down and made some plans.
Yeah. Okay. So 2014.
14 was a disaster. Yeah, I competed in 14.
You learned some lessons.
Like every competitor, we'll do another video on this. Came off stage and I didn't understand much about reversing or looking at my nutrition post-show. I made a lot of mistakes. I put on a lot of weight very quickly. I started at a very difficult place for my next prep. It was a much harder experience. My condition didn't come in as well as I wanted to. So I had, don't get me wrong, I still had a really great year in 2014. But I found it more challenging because of the set of circumstances. So 2014, I did BNBF, took first there, went to their finals. I did UK DFBA as well that year. Went back and did that again. 2015 was a really great year because I went back and did BNBF and took first on their qualifier, got to the finals. Took a top 3 placing there and got invited for the first time to DFAC as an amateur. Sure. So that was my first massive world tick where I could get over to the worlds and showcase what I was all about in the amateur figure lineup at DFAC.
What was that like then, going to the worlds? Compared to an amateur competition?
Completely and utterly different.
Eye-opening?
Yeah, massively eye-opening. Figure, when you get into the international ranks,
it's on a different level.
The level of muscularity, how big the girls are, the condition, the whole stage presence, just bang. It's not even a case of going, oh, there's a little bit. It's
disrespecting our girls too much. I mean, these girls from the States are on another level.
Yeah, they're massive. They're on another level. They're on their game.
Yeah,
they take it seriously. It's exactly the type of environment like I wanted to be in, and it gave me such inspiration. But I knew that was kind of where I wanted to get to anyway. But then the hunger was just planted then because I wanted to get back, and I thought, nope, I'm not going back on stage the following year in 16. I'm off stage a whole year in the gym, absolutely smashing it. I knew exactly the shape I wanted to bring for 2017. I went into 2017 with one goal, and that was to win the British finals at BNBF and go to their pro and to take pro that year, because that was what I was working towards. So when I came off stage in 2013 and I set my goals, the goal was to become a pro figure natural bodybuilder in the UK.
In 2013, that's what you thought?
Yeah, when I came
way
off
back then.
Won the first stage. Yeah, because I saw that this was something I could be really good at and I enjoy, and I wanted to set my focus on building my physique to pro level standard, and I knew that wasn't going to be 1 year. I knew it was going to take 3, 4, 5, potentially more.
For
so
sure.
That was it. Yeah.
Would you have that goal if you had been out to the worlds and seen what the girls looked like? Do you think that would have been more achievable, or would it put a different time scale on your goal?
Might put a different time scale on it, I think. I don't know. I think thing is going over as an amateur to the DFAC in 15 gave me the hunger for it more so than I already did, because I suddenly saw something totally different. I understood what pro level bodybuilding was going to be about. So I had a different level of ferocity for it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
a new focus.
Yeah, a new focus. So I think in the sense that I knew I wanted to compete, and I knew I wanted to compete at a very high level, but then going to do the amateur solidified that when I came home, and it was all then literally driving focus was to win the BNBF Brits. That was my focus, and to take my pro card. Hopefully, I was hoping that would come alongside with that, or at least it be a stepping stone ready.
So we fast forward to 2017.
Yeah.
Did you do a qualifier?
So 17, yes, I did the Centrals. I'm just going to double check my actual dates. No, it was the Northern. I did the BNBF Northern. Yeah. That was it. I took first place. Finals, I won the British finals.
Fab, I remember seeing you there.
Which was by far the best package I've ever brought to date. I worked so hard for that. Not that I sound like it sounds egotistical or anything, but I didn't want to settle for anything else than a win. It was like I had to go in and really, really push to win that show. Yeah. So I put everything into that prep. And then I took that placing. I was absolutely over the moon and was awarded my pro status on that stage, which was extremely special to me. Very, very special show, very special moment. And then had the opportunity to go back over to the Worlds, but this time in the pro ranks. And I took a very close second.
Very close, yeah.
In my first pro show. And again, the standard there was phenomenal, and that's such an amazing experience. And here we are now, just head down, getting bigger and better.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that's a journey since 2013 to 2017. So I mean, you've got your dancing background there, where you're obviously building muscle. Off the back of that, you had your training as well with this diet in mind for going on holiday. But even prior to that, just 2012. So I mean, that's actually
it was 2012 was when I started training hard. I was in the gym before that, but hard training 2012. Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking like a 5-year plan to go from someone that's not a bodybuilder to being the professional bodybuilder. And the one thing we can take from all this as well is you did a lot of shows. And I think it's important that you do the shows.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you need the practice and the time on stage. Because you want to get good at bodybuilding, particularly competitive bodybuilding, you need to be competitive bodybuilding. It's like anything, isn't it? I mean, if you want to get good at a sport, then you need to practice your sport.
Yeah, and actually, I agree with that. I think as well, if you want to do bodybuilding, you need to understand the environment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You need to just get up there and get stuck in and not worry. In my opinion, one of the biggest lessons I've learned through the last few years in competitive bodybuilding is stop worrying about what anyone else is doing. Don't even focus on it. Just make sure that you are 100% committed to what nobody sees, which is the training, the dieting, the consistency throughout all of it. Get yourself to the shows, do the shows, and just bring the best version of yourself every time, and just concentrate on yourself. I think it's one of the most important lessons that I've learned through all of it.
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, what's the old saying goes is you can't win a show backstage, but you can definitely lose it.
Oh yeah.
You can get stressed. So I mean, learning that process it's very important.
Yeah, and knowing your why you want to compete in the first place, knowing why you're doing this whole thing is so incredibly important, because a lot of people, and I think you've probably heard this conversation to death, but a lot of competitors or just people go into competing for the wrong reasons. And I think it's important that you don't lose yourself in the process of competing, because it can be extraordinarily difficult, and you've got to maintain the reasons why at the start you're doing this for your own personal goal rather than anybody else's.
Oh yeah, this sport has to be for you. It has to be, because I mean you invest so much into it, and in terms of what you get out of it in terms of monetary gain and the amount of time that's invested in it, etc., then you're not going to get a lot out of it in that respect. So it has to be a sort of personal journey that you're willing to go through.
You've got to be ready for all the highs and lows of it.
You have to be, absolutely.
I think it takes a certain type of person in bodybuilding to be able to do that.
Resilience is a...
Resilience, strength and resilience, and not getting too upset with kind of, I don't know, the competitive...
Yeah.
Well, competing generally. At the end of the day, you're getting on stage to be judged. And you've got to know that before you even start this, I think.
Yeah,
because people get very upset when they come to it, with placings or with the whole process and everything else. But preparing your mind for actually the concept that you are standing in front of a bunch of strangers in pretty much nothing.
Yeah. After
having done months and months and months of graft, you are there to be judged. You're putting yourself in one of the most difficult positions actually that a mindset can take. Sure. We all avoid judgment throughout our lives all the time. Yeah, we're just placing ourselves right there in the limelight and to be judged. So
there can only be one winner, which means that there's going to have to be, in a lineup of 10 people, more than one loser.
More than one loser, exactly.
So you have to be prepared that when you go into this, that you might not be the winner, and you have to be able to be resilient enough that, if it doesn't go your way, then you don't get down about it. And then if you do win, that you don't get too high about it, because you can always have a down later on as well.
That's it. And bodybuilding is not going to be for everyone. You can try it.
For sure.
Else, but I think the point I'm trying to make there is just knowing that you are putting yourself in quite a brutal position from the start, and you've got to be ready for that. So part of your preparation, certainly we'll probably talk about this again, has got to be preparing this. And if this is right and this is right and you're doing the whole work, it should all come together quite nicely, but you come away from it learning something, whether you're winning or losing. So
there we go.
Yeah, lots of stuff. What about you?
Well,
Mr. Chappelle,
I
multiple time winning.
Well, my my career, as I've already stated, goes way back to 2006. So I did that first Mr. Scotland, the BNBF, so that's the British Natural Bodybuilding Federation, way back then. And I then went on and I did qualify for the British Finals, at which point I came second in the British Finals as a junior. So I was defeated by Abdul Mia, who was an excellent competitor. He was a powerlifter / bodybuilder. He had these sort of cartoon-esque sort of proportions, tiny little waist, huge flowing quads, big crazy back, great competitor. And I mean, after that, I was resolved that I would come back the next year and I would beat this guy, because I was a sore loser and I wanted to go and right the wrongs that I perceived, or rather not right the wrongs, I was just competitive. I didn't like losing. I wanted to go and try and get one over on Abdul for the previous year. So I guess by that point, I was hooked on it, because I sort of realised, well, I'm not too bad at this sort of sport, I guess. And I got picked up by Extreme Nutrition, I remember at the time. So those guys up there, they were, this is Extreme here, they were helping me out quite a bit with my contest dieting and supplements and things like this. Dougie sort of took me under his wing. He was my mentor.
God bless him.
God bless him, R.I.P. And he resolved to help me with my competitive bodybuilding. I entered, I think, about 9 or 10 bodybuilding shows that year. And I think I won probably about 70% of them, because I did, the next season, I did the Pro Lab Classic, the novice class, where I came third. I did the NABA Mr. Scotland, which I won. I did the UK BFF Mr. Scotland, which I won. I did something called the Mr. Caledonia, which I won. So these are all junior titles. I did the BNBF Scottish, which I came second in. I was gutted. A lad beat me for that one, who didn't then turn up at the finals.
We both take second in our first show of BNBF.
Yeah.
It's the one where you want to go, I want to go back and win that.
Oh yeah, particularly as well, since I won all the tested shows and then got beat at the natural show. So yeah, so I did that, and then I got to the British finals for the BNBF, and I managed to take the first place in that one there. And some other famous bodybuilders at the time, naturals, competed. So I was up against Mark Claxton. Yeah. So I managed
Mark.
Hi Mark, how you doing? Great competitor.
He's wicked.
Well, we'll have to see if I can compete against again one day, because that's 2007. I've never competed against him since. I'd love to be up against him. I'm sure he'd love the same, to try and avenge that defeat.
I think a lot of us BNBF people would love to see that battle down as well.
So Mark Claxton and Lawrence King as well was actually in the lineup as well. So there's 3 of us actually all three of us went on to become pro bodybuilders. So in terms of BMBF lineups as juniors, that's probably up there. And Pete Billard was a good competitor as well. He was on the scene for a long time, so he was fourth. So won that, finally got my British title, so I was happy with that. Went off to the Worlds. I competed at the PMBA Natural Olympia out in Greece, Thessaloniki. So that was my first experience of the international scene as a 19 or 20 year old I would have been back then. And just a great experience competing against natural bodybuilders from all over the world, seeing the pro lineup as well, all these great competitors in the men's division, because obviously I was at the time thinking, okay, I've won a British title, maybe I could do this.
Yeah.
And then you see those amazing competitors and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is not going to happen.
Different league altogether.
This is not going to happen overnight. Can I potentially do this? But I came second in that show, so I was really pleased with that. And then I went back the next year, competed again, BMBF finals, came second. I won Robert Waterhouse, managed to, another BMBF pro, managed to defeat me in the...
Big up to Rob.
Big up to Rob, yeah, great competitor. Junior class, and then the next year after that, I came back and I did the finals again, and I won that one in 2009. So I've done the juniors 4 times. Mm-hmm. I've got 2 first places and 2 second places. I don't know another junior that's got a better record than that. So pretty pleased with that.
You've got to be pleased with that, to be fair.
So that was 2009. So the next step after that was to go and compete in the male classes.
Yeah.
And the transition from being a male class competitor to being sort of a teenage and a junior competitor to a male class competitor, there's quite a difference. I mean, these guys are bigger, more muscular, more experienced. And bodybuilding is a sport where guys get better with age because it just takes that long to build the muscle. So the next contest after that was 2012.
Yeah.
So in between then and that, I started doing strongman. So I moved up to Aberdeen, and because there's a big Highland Games scene up there, people like to pick up big rocks and throw them about. I thought, well, I could be game for this. This sounds like fun. If you lift these big stones, and that'll help you build some muscle. So I started getting involved with that, which is great fun. Yeah, really, really good. I can maybe talk about the strongman on a separate one, on a separate day. But yeah, 2012 did I won my first ever overall. Happy with that. BMBF Scottish overall title. Really, really good. Won my first overall. Won the British final middleweight class. First attempt at British finals again. So I won that. Really pleased. And then defeated in the overall by I won Nathan Williams, the prodigy. Yeah. Who, in my opinion, is probably the best in the world.
Insane natural competitor. If you've not checked out Nathan, go see him.
Yeah, probably the best ever junior.
Yeah, just
bodybuilder. Maybe
crazy shape.
Kai Green would probably get a shout for that, but Nathan's going to be up there with one of the best ever juniors, easily. So yeah, I did that. Went off to the Worlds, and then I won the. Oh no, I didn't actually. Sorry, I competed in the heavyweight class at the World Amateurs, 2012, and Sutonyi Dukubu. He, another great competitor. All these guys that beat me, they're all
amazing.
They're all great. They're all great guys. Great competitors. That's someone I'd love to compete against Sutonyi again, actually. So he beat me for the heavyweight title. And then 2013, same year as you, competing. That would have been your first time at the finals, was it? You said?
That was that would be first time competing ever.
Yeah, so
qualifiers and finals that year for me.
Did the heavyweights that year, BMBF, British finals, won that class. Mm-hmm. Rob Waterhouse defeated me in the overall. Mm-hmm. Again, Rob twice he's beat me. 2 times competed against each other. He did me that time. And then I did the Worlds, won the middleweight class, and then Fabien Bouquet beat me in the overall amateurs. That was probably the toughest loss, or one. I mean, and I say it's a loss because I won the world amateur title as a middleweight, but going into the overall winner gets the pro card. Sure. So I mean, that was a tough one to swallow, because I've been working for so long, since like 2007 to 2013. Mm-hmm. And in 2014 I came back. I mean, I guess I left no stone unturned. Trained better than I'd ever trained before at that particular time. Ate better than I'd ever ate before, and I think I did actually. I would say that I outright won that. I mean, Lewis Smith, a great competitor, I competed against him a couple of times. But I think that was my title and that was my time.
Yeah.
Michael Perrin actually competed against him in the overall.
That was 14,
really good junior competitor.
Yeah.
Managed to beat these guys. Tishala Cavallo was actually in the lineup too. And then went on, did the Worlds, second to Sean Wolf in the pro class at the Worlds, so really pleased with that. And then I came back in 2017, did my first overall. Finally managed to avenge my defeats to Rob Waterhouse.
2017 was a good year.
Good year. I know Rob wants to do it again, so I'd love to do it again to try and make it 2 for 2, although he's probably looking for 3 for 1.
Probably.
And then I did the Worlds and I third to David Kate and Siobhan Cunningham. So that's my competitive record to date. So I've done a lot of shows.
We're both here at 2017 is our last year on stage, isn't it?
That's it.
So it's kind of quite nice actually because we're both coming back into 2019. We've both had a year off, obviously doing our stuff that we do, and we're looking towards the next steps.
So, what's the future hold?
What does the future hold? This is the question. I think for me, certainly, I have been thoroughly enjoying my training. The goal this off season has been sole focus on my legs, actually just genuinely building and getting bigger in every area, but certainly to pack on a little bit more size in my legs, and to come back again and hit the pro stage. The DFAC Worlds, which will be back in November again, it would be definitely one I'm shooting for. Potential for a warm-up show maybe along the way. Not decided really what that looks like yet. Certainly we're doing our work towards the guest spot that we'll be doing this year. So that's where I'm going to be at. Naturally, I've obviously done one debut pro show. So for me, it's about solidifying myself on the pro stage and working really hard to earn hopefully a world title.
Awesome. Good plans ahead then.
Yeah, that's the goal. You've got to aim big, don't you?
Oh yeah, what was it they say? Shoot for the stars and reach the moon.
Hashtag dream big.
Hashtag dream big.
We're not fans of the what are they? I don't even know what they are.
Life quotes.
Quotes.
Dreams are for dreamers. Goals are for achievers.
There we go. That's a good one. Goals are for achievers.
We've got our goals in place, and you're thinking bigger legs.
And obviously for the figure shape, I adore. So everything I do in the gym, the specific training protocols and programs I've put together for myself are to accentuate the X-frame shape, to really draw allusion to that nice tiny waist, big beastie back, nice big cat shoulders, lovely sweeping quads, glutes, hamstrings, all the rest of it. So I'm in the gym concentrating and zoning in on that shape and that look in everything I do. So that is what's going on right now, is just attack and focus on building a bigger, better package as always, and hopefully that's showing on the stage. This year.
It's interesting you say that, because I know a lot of guys say to me that they love my physique and I've got this classical sort of look, but all the training that I do is barbells and dumbbells. I use probably as little machines as I can. I do a lot of strongman training, lifting logs, rocks, yokes and things like that, and a lot of things that people might potentially say this will thicken your physique or make you have a sort of blocky physique. I've got this
lovely aesthetic,
which comes purely from the way I train. But probably, obviously, I mean, a lot of that's genetic. It's my skeletal structure, it's my insertions, and that's what builds it. And it's the way that I pose and I hold myself, which makes me look that particular way. So it's just a nice contrast, I think, to we talk about these sort of things. As for myself,
your goals, 2018, 2019.
2019, I mean, recently, I've just been focused largely on my bodybuilding research, so that's been my main aim, is trying to get as good quality data as we can to help the bodybuilding community so we can advance our knowledge in terms of bodybuilding. But I think it's probably about time to try and make a comeback to the stage. So this year we're thinking, do the guest spot, see what I look like after that, and if I'm not too fat and I look alright, and I've made a little bit of improvements, then we'll probably be looking at the Pro Grand Prix at the end of the year, and then we'll see where it takes me with various work commitments and other things going on in my life if I can manage to do the World Finals. But I reckon I can probably bring something slightly better than I brought last time, and that package was a pretty hard one to beat. So That's all you can do.
But I think like what you just said, and you've hit the nail on the head, you know, you fit the competitions in bodybuilding into your life as well.
Definitely.
So, you know, sometimes you set off with a goal and things can kind of
throw
at you. And certainly, I know that obviously we've spoken about it, but you've got different life things going on and there's things that you've got to consider. So this is kind of nice going in for the guest spot, because I think both of us are like, well, we'll see how we look.
See how it looks, yeah.
And then you can decide on after that, but we'll be in a pretty good set point by that point.
Definitely,
to think, well, where do you want to go? Certainly we'll be able to manipulate, and plenty of time to get the weight off if you need to by that point as well.
Okay, Steph, so let's do some quick fire ones then.
Okay.
Right, competitive bodybuilding likes, okay, top 3 likes.
Well, in terms of...
What do you love about the competitive bodybuilding stage?
Ooh, strutting.
Okay, strutting, yeah. Okay, owning the stage.
Owning the stage, stage presentation, posing, T-walk, all of that like actual performance element.
Okay, so I'll give you that
one.
That's one.
Number 2, training. It's got to be training.
Yeah.
I love being in the gym. It's helped me through many different stages of my life for all different reasons, but to train my body and to see the changes it's made since I started to now is awesome. So,
sure, transformation in the training. Yep, and then another one. Can you give me another one?
Winning.
That's okay. I think you can say that. Yeah.
Can I say that?
You can say that.
Is that like really bad?
No. I think everyone likes to win. That's
competitive bodybuilding. I think sportsmanship. I think is something that's probably something I'm quite like. I've met a lot of people through this industry doing this sport that I connect with, and I've built some great relationships.
Right, dislikes. Top 3.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
I'll give you dislikes. Fake tan.
Okay.
When you put that stuff on, it's just a necessary evil. It's sticky. It's gross. It's not that much fun. It ruins your bed sheets. You often have to put it on the day before.
What else?
Peak week's a pain in the arse.
See, I don't find peak week that bad, but okay. For guys, I can see it's a pain in the arse.
Messing about with water, carb depleting, carb loading, doing all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's different ways you can do it, but it's stressful. Okay, another one. Inevitably having to travel somewhere, stay overnight, take your food and stuff like that with you. So these sort of things they're a bit of a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Also, like, it's expensive. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, it costs you money.
Competing is expensive. Like, you've got to be ready for the outlay that it costs.
Yeah, and we can maybe do a video on that as well.
Do a little video on that. What else?
Okay, I'll give you my likes while you go for it.
Right.
Okay, I like this notion that you're saying. Okay, sportsmanship's great. I mean, I mentioned a load of guys that I've competed against in the past years, some really good ones, and I think I've got a really good relationship with all of them, and we respect each other, and it's a great thing. I never would have met any of them or any of the people if I'd never got involved with competitive bodybuilding. I mean, bodybuilding's one thing, but you're doing that alone in your gym, the competitive scene, when you're going places, So I met a lot of friends from it, so I love that. Stage time, the actual routines themselves, again, like yourself, that is your time to shine, display your physique, and really display the art of bodybuilding, and I love that part. It's probably one of my favourite parts about bodybuilding. And you feel like a rock star. You're on stage, you've got the music, you've got the crowd.
He criticises me for saying I like his winning, and he's now calling himself a rock star.
Well, a performer.
I'm joking.
An artist.
Yeah, no.
So
I get what you're
like
saying.
These things.
That feeling of being up there and really being given an opportunity to show you what you're doing. Yeah.
I mean, having big muscles is fun, but training is the best, actually. Because just the challenge of it. Putting yourself somewhere where, a lot of people couldn't do what you're doing. Like if you do some crazy sets of squats or deadlifts and you really get into that meditative state and you're in the zone and you're working really hard, your blood pressure's high, you're stressed and you're just sweating, heart rate's high, and you're just going through it and you get through the set and afterwards you're like, boom. The training is the best. Yeah. So there's 3 dislikes, 3 likes.
My dislikes, it's so hard. Maybe like the monotony of the diet. Although I think as you become more progressively experienced in bodybuilding, it doesn't phase you that much. You just get on with it.
Yeah.
You just, right, I'm dieting, right, that's it, you've committed to it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe the monotonous side of it. Another dislike, women, competitors, you hear me, bikinis and backstage and going to the bathroom. I don't need to say any more than that.
Okay, we'll move on. Absolutely. And then the third dislike?
Third dislike has got to be, do you see how quickly I had to move on from that? It's a really uncomfortable moment.
Nobody needs to know.
No.
They know what you're
talking about.
Girls,
you get me. Number three has maybe got to be social media. Because I don't think many people talk about it, but social media can be quite detrimental to a lot of competitors because they spend a lot of time focused on kind of that aspect to it. It's not necessarily a dislike, it's more of raising a bit of awareness around it, that, you know, using social media to share your journey is fantastic, and I think it's great, and it's really good for people to learn and educate from, but can also be a hindrance because it allows maybe some people who've got some insecurities to kind of let them get lost a little
absolutely.
bit, you know?
I see where you're coming from. I think
that's maybe a competitive dislike. That could be we could maybe talk about that.
I think we could. I mean, I'm engaged in research on this exact topic at the moment. I mean, I'm very interested in social media's role in terms of people's own self-esteem, etc. And how this can be potentially negatively impacting their mental health. So this is something that I'm currently researching.
Sure. So that's maybe something else to consider. But hopefully that gives you a pretty good overview of where we both come from.
Sure.
We are chatters. We are talkers, Andrew and I. So we do go on. But
hopefully you've enjoyed
where we've come from, why we started competing.
Okay, are you happy with that, Steph?
I think so. I'll probably look back and cringe at my choosing face, but yeah.
Oh, that'll be fine. Okay. Okay, so we're signing out.
Thank you very much for tuning in.
Yep.
Drop us a wee comment below if you'd like to talk about anything more in detail. We're going to do loads more different videos. There's been a few things we've thrown up today that we'll make individual videos on anyway. Make sure to subscribe. Click the subscribe button.
Yep.
Click and like and follow our Instagram pages.
Sure.
There's a Pro Prep Facebook page over there as well. We're also going to put some links and things of what we actually do and the services that we provide as well, if anyone's interested in prep, posing, training, nutrition advice as well. So we'll put some stuff about that down there too. That gives you an overview and hopefully a nice introduction to where we've come from and our backgrounds and what we're continuing to work towards. So we'll look forward to seeing you again in the next video.
Okay. Peace out.
Take care.